Welcome back to Customer Discovery 101. I'm Benjamin Nason from the Happy Valley Launchbox, and today we're going to talk about how to start analyzing all the wonderful information you've been collecting from your interviews. At this point, you should have interviewed at least 10 potential customers or stakeholders and have a bunch of notes. If you haven't been able to do so yet, we encourage you to do it before you continue. Your next step is to identify themes or patterns from across your interviews that help you validate or invalidate your assumptions, better define the problem or need, uncover the root cause or causes, and better understand alternatives that people have tried and how those worked. Additionally, you should be able to gain a better understanding of the emotions connected to the problem or need. You've probably already noticed some patterns emerging. However, we found that people tend to remember the good things and forget the bad things. Or, said another way, they remember the things that validate their ideas, but forget the things that invalidate them. So I'm going to walk you through the process that we've been using with hundreds of people to help ensure that they aren't only focusing on what they want to hear. By digging into the data and not relying on only your gut, you're more likely to create solutions that people actually want, reduce your risk, and increase your chances of success. So how do you do this? That is a great question. You don't need fancy software or any special materials. All you need is a pile of sticky notes and some Sharpies. To start, gather up your interview notes so you have them handy. Next, assign each interview a number. This can be in the order in which you interview people. Write the number on the interview notes or create a separate list. Nothing fancy. Just a way to be able to tell which person said what as we break up the interviews into smaller nuggets of information. If you want, you can pause the video now and assign your numbers. Once you have numbers assigned to each interview, the next step is to start pulling out nuggets of information from each interview. A nugget is a single thought, comment, quote, feeling, behavior, habit, or belief that your customer has mentioned. We call them nuggets because the customer discovery process is a little like panning for gold. It takes a little practice sometimes to see the nugget, but when you find them, you'll learn a lot. So, let's go through a few examples to clarify what a nugget really is. Let's say you're interviewing people to learn more about their dining habits, and one person commented, "I really try to eat healthy when I can. It's hard though. I'm crazy busy at work, I have 2 kids and all kinds of sports, and my cooking skills aren't that great." There are a ton of nuggets embedded in this response. She tries to eat healthy. This suggests that she'd like to eat healthy, but may be struggling to do that. She mentions when she can. That reinforces that something is stopping her from doing that, but at this point, we're not sure what that is. This nugget is about the challenge in doing so. She finds it hard. "I'm crazy busy at work" tells you that she's working and it's taking up the time that would otherwise be used to plan or cook. She mentions 2 kids, and that nugget might suggest that the cooking for others is the challenge. Her kids are in sports, and that is another time commitment for her, so time seems to be an issue for her. Finally, she talks about not having the right skills. At this point, for one person you've identified that time and skills might be the biggest challenge. It's too soon to tell just from one interview, but as we pull out nuggets from across multiple interviews, we start organizing them into common themes or patterns to see if we see a trend in our target customer. Now that you have a better idea of what a nugget is, you're ready to start pulling out nuggets from your interviews and writing one on a single sticky note along with the interview number you assigned. Whenever possible, be sure to use the exact words of your customer. You shouldn't be rewording them in any way. For instance, if your customer is saying that they are frustrated with their options, don't write, "They don't like the competition." This is too big of a leap and often leads to missing key insights. Keeping nuggets in the words of your customer will also be helpful later as you start writing web copy, building marketing campaigns, and talking about the value you provide. The other mistake we often see people making is putting multiple nuggets on one sticky note. Remember that it's one small thought. More is better. It doesn't matter if you already have a sticky note with a similar comment, write it down again. In fact, this is how you should tell what is top of mind of your customers. If multiple people say the same thing over and over, it's probably something important that you're uncovering. Don't skip over the things that you think are not important. That will bias your findings. It's often the surprising or out of left field comments that provide the most insight. This is going to take a while, and that's okay. You may want to ask your business partner to help you. Just be sure they understand what the nugget is. Take your time and reflect on all the things you heard from your customers. Be open to new themes that you haven't even considered. We've seen this process really help people better articulate the problem, who has it, and why it's a problem. All key things you need to know to be successful. So, your next step is to start numbering your interviews, if you haven't done that already. Then start pulling out single nuggets onto each individual sticky note. You can use paper sticky notes, or you can use online sticky notes if you prefer. Whatever you use, you're going to need lots of sticky notes, and a place where you can organize and keep them to move them around in different groupings. We'd recommend that you pull out nuggets for 2 to 3 interviews, then jump to the next video to see how to start organizing them. Eventually, you'll do all your interviews, but it's easier to go back and forth between pulling out nuggets and grouping them until all interviews are done.